Hello everyone, this is Yoinkinator, and I'm back with some more Minecraft Redstone contraptions, and I'm back with some contraptions that are called counters. And I have two different types of counters. These three are known as series counters. At least that's what I'm calling them. I'm not sure if that's a official correct term of it. Anyways, and then this guy over here is a binary counter, and this design I found in Scoop It Up's Bluestone computer CPU computer. It was really cool. I was basically going through it, dissecting how he put it together, and I found this thing, and I thought it was really cool, and that's partially the reason why I'm putting together this video. Um, so what a series counter is basically is every time it receives a redstone pulse, it'll turn on one of the outputs, and if it receives a redstone pulse again, it'll turn on another one, and then another one, and then another one, until all the outputs are basically turned on, and then you just clear them with something. A binary counter instead is when it receives a pulse, it'll give you a binary 1, and then when it receives a, I forget which direction is correct. Anyways, but it'll create a binary 1, and then once it receives a redstone pulse again, it'll go up to binary 2. And then once it receives a pulse again, it'll go to 3, and then to 4, and to 5, and then to 6, and then to 7, and then to 8, and so forth. It'll basically go up until it reaches its maximum, and then it'll reset. Or you can do what I did to this guy here: is put a little reset button on it. So, and I'll go into this later, but let's go into series, since these are the series is basically the easiest to understand. So this is what I tried to basically put this guy together. This is a counter I developed for my Conway's Game of Life machine. And it works as a counter pretty well. So I put out some pulse, it turns on the first one, turn it on again, turns on the second one, it just keeps going until it reaches 4, and then even though I press it again, there is no 5 up here, so it can't count up to 5. It only needs to count up to 4, and that's all I really needed for my Conway's Game of Life machine, is to count it up to 4, because in Conway's Game of Life, you only need to count up to basically 3, but if there's any more, you need to know, so that's why there's a 4th one. And to reset it, just press this button here, and it turns off. So yeah. And if you haven't seen my Conan's Game of Life video, like you're seeing this video for some reason, and you haven't seen my Conan's Game of Life video, please check it out. I worked really hard on it. It's really cool. There's even a world download link. I need to check if it still works. Anyways, but this is a simpler design. Basically, all it is, this works the same way. So if I press the input, it turns on, and if I press it again, it turns to the second one, and so on and so forth, and goes to the 4th one until I reset it, like that. And the way this works basically is this area in this thing right here is an RS NOR latch. And when it starts out, it's in this position. This redstone torch is on. It powers this block up here, and underneath here, whoops, that's not right. Actually, I don't need that right now. So it powers this redstone torch, which then turns this line on, and thus this torch cannot turn on. And then once I turn it on. Whoops, that was not meant to happen. I'll explain that later. But then, okay. So once this torch turns on, then it powers this thing, which powers this repeater, which then I just realized I can do that. I think maybe I need to rethink my entire design here. I'll do that later though. So yeah, and that's basically what happens. And these RS NOR latches are basically in series, and what happens is we don't need this guy right now, but once this guy turns on, wait, I need to think about something. Oh yeah, once this guy turns off, I should say, it turns this repeater off, and what this repeater was doing is it was keeping this excuse me, it was keeping this redstone dust on, which was keeping this guy off. So even though this thing received the same pulse as this guy did, this guy remained off because it couldn't turn on until this guy turned on, till this guy turned off. So if I press this guy again, you're gonna see it turns on. And basically, you can just stack these forever, pretty much till forever, if you really wanted to. I'm not sure you really want to do that. And then to reset it all, I all I really need to do is press this button here. And what this will do is it'll send a pulse throughout the entire device, which will turn this piece of redstone dust off, which will then turn these torches off, which will turn this guy back on, which will effectively reset the entire device. Yay! And now this guy over here is a smaller, more compact. It's not really a counter per se, it's more of a sequencer, I'm going to call it. And this can be done with basically the redstone repeater locking mechanism, which is new to Minecraft, or somewhat new to Minecraft. I haven't released videos for a long time, but basically all that really happens is that once I turn on the signal, it'll unlock the repeaters for a second, allowing this guy to then turn on, and then it turns this output on, and then if I keep pressing it, it'll go to the next one. If I press it again, it'll go to the next one. And then once I press it again, it'll reset itself and come back to this guy. So this guy really isn't a counter, but it can be used as one depending on how you decide to use it. And I kind of like this design. I was planning on using it in a Minecraft map that me and a Wolfgang were putting together, but we haven't really been keeping up with that. So if nothing comes of it, then that's perfectly fine with me. But I was planning on using this, and basically the point of using a sequencer is like if you have a bunch of redstone devices that need to be on, then after a certain amount of time you need to turn on a number of different redstone devices, and then so forth and so on and so forth. You can basically hook all the first ones that need to be on with the first output, and then the second ones with the second output, and then so on and so forth until you get to until you need to reset the entire thing and then go back to the first one. So yeah. So these are series counters, and then this guy over here is a binary counter. And basically it utilizes excuse me, it utilizes a bunch of T flip-flops. And so if I turn this guy on, you can see it'll give me a binary 1. So that's 0 0. So this is so if this is like the I hope you guys know binary by now. So if this is the 8 position, 4 position, 2 position, 1 position, this is a 1. So then when I press this guy again, it'll go to the 2 position. So it's 0 0 2 0 0 2 0, so it's 2. And then press it again. It'll give me 0 0 2 1, which 2 plus 1 is 3. And then if I keep pressing this, it'll go to 3. And then so forth. And then we keep going. We get 4. Oh, not 4. 5, 6, 7. Oops. And then we look over the 8. And then we're going to keep going. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now, once I press the button again, this would supposedly give us the number 16, but there is no 16 slot. So what happens once we press this guy again? It's just going to reset everything. And the way this guy works is it's basically a bunch of T flip-flops. These are sticky pistons, and they're given a pulse of only one tick, a redstone pulse of only 1 tick. And underneath here is a bunch of redstone dust. So that's how this is getting powered. It's getting the power from here, powering this block underneath this repeater here, and then powering this redstone, which then activates both of these pistons. And the reason for that is that this array of pistons here acts as a bunch of T flip-flops, and what happens is once it activates, so let's activate it, it'll complete this redstone line here, which will allow this pair of pistons to then activate. And then, but it will still activate this piston again once the next pulse happens, and what will happen then is that the sticky piston will then retract the block, closing the redstone circuit, and then opening this one, which will let this pulse go through. And once I get the next one again, it won't allow the pulse to continue through and activate this guy again. It'll only activate this one, which will give us the number 3. And then the line is complete, and it'll be able to power this guy, which is over here. And yeah, it just basically continues like that. And it doesn't really, and I'm sure the question's going to arise. I hope the question would arise, but since I'm answering it anyways, no one's going to ask. Anyway, so what happened? So You need to be quiet. Okay, so I'm assuming the question will arise that because this guy is powering both of these pieces of redstone dust, wouldn't it cause these guys to activate or something? And the answer is, well, it's being activated anyways. The one previous is already being activated, and since this one's already activating the next one, it doesn't really matter. So that's basically that. And Scoop It Up's design did not include, at least I didn't see it, it didn't include a way to reset this. So like if you have a number that goes up to like, let's say, let's do 6, or this is 5, not 6. What I basically included here is a button such that when I press it, it'll reset the entire device. So now it's effectively at 0, and then we can recount from there. I should have a command block or something that automatically activates in this world. Anyway, so the way it works is that when I press this button, it'll activate this line of repeaters, which will then power this piece of redstone below that. And like I said, the only reason why this device works as a T flip-flop is because it's receiving a pulse of only one tick. If you give it a pulse of greater than 1 tick, like 2 ticks, let's just say, it won't push out the block and then just leave it there. It'll actually push it out and then back in. So that's all that this line of repeaters does, is it just turns them on for greater than a tick. Any blocks that were out here or out here get pulled back. If the block was just in a neutral position, it'll just get pulled back into that position. And this section down here, basically all it is it's a way to turn these redstone torches off, just so that so you saw earlier when I got rid of this guy, it turned on all the outputs. And if you don't want that to happen, then you can put another line of repeaters in here, and what that will do is it will turn off the torches, just so that when you reset it, it doesn't give you any output, which is nice. And and yeah, that's basically it. Some of the advantages, I guess, of these different types of counters. These counters are good because they use they're a lot simpler than this. Like if you're building something in creative and you need or not in creative, survival, and all you really have is just redstone dust and repeaters and torches. This is pretty cheap, or this one's even cheaper because it doesn't require any iron. But the series counters are really cheap because they don't use any sticky pistons, and also they're good if you only need to count to like a low number. And they were also good for me in my Economy's Game of Life. My Economy's Game of Life contraption, because it was the easiest way, I believe, I can think of. It was the easiest way to it was the easiest way to tell if there were 1, 2, 3, or 4 neighbors, and I really only needed to know if there were 2, 3, or 4, because like I said, the series counter will not go above the amount of outputs it has. So what will happen is that if there was only 2, like this guy was on, that's all I need to know. And if this guy was on, then there's obviously 3. This is hard to explain. I'm explaining this completely wrong. But if there was 4, then in Economy's Game of Life, that means that the cell should be dead. Like if the cell's alive, then it should be dead. Then that's important to know. I'm kind of rambling here. And then, of course, this binary counter is really effective if you're trying to do some Minecraft computing. So if you want to have trying to think here. And it's good for Minecraft computing. Trust me, I can't think of a good example off the top of my head, but trust me, it's important. And then it's also good if you need to count to a higher number. Like if you wanted to count to 16, you're not gonna use this guy. You're just gonna use this guy instead, because this only uses 8 pistons. This guy requires 7, I believe, and it only counts to 4. And then this guy requires no pistons, but it's still going to be this. If you want 16 of these, it's going to require this huge line of stuff, and that's just not practical. This guy's a lot more practical. This guy can basically count up to 16 by himself. All you really need to do to count up to farther than 16 with this is have this. I need to think how to do this. There's a way, trust me. Actually, I'm gonna cut the video right here and then come back with it. Okay, so apparently it was a lot simpler than I thought it was. Basically, all you need to do is have a sticky piston here and this guy here, and then it'll activate once it gets to 16. The only thing you really need to do afterwards is like hook this up to the reset portion. You can actually reverse this. So if you have the output here, like you just want to count to 16, you can have it so that this guy then resets everything. So like if I wanted to do, I won't do it, but I showed you guys how this works. So if you really wanted to do it, all you really need to do is just have the reset device and then just hook it up that way. And then you'd also need to reset this piston also. So you'd basically be doing the same thing. You basically be powering this piston for more than a tick and it'll reset. So yeah, that's basically it. Yep, that's basically it for counters. I tried making a vertical version of this. It's apparently a lot more difficult than I thought. I had it set up over here, but then I blew it up because it was an atrocity and it must be destroyed. And that's basically it. Oh yeah, and then for each of these devices, just really quick, it's a really simple. At the beginning of each one, all I really needed was a pulse limiter. And the simplest design to do that is using a sticky piston, this and that and that. And yeah. For this guy, this is the setup. It requires 2 ticks just in case you decide to do this. And then for this guy, it requires, did I do that? No, I don't think I did. It requires a pulse of 3 ticks. And this guy needs to be on 2. So that's really just to make it work properly. That's all I really need. So yep, that's basically it. This has been Redstone Counters. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.